I'm with Andrew today. We're talking about all things pre-foreclosures, and guess what? We're focusing on the absolute newbies that haven't even done their first deal yet, never door knocked the property. So we're gonna focus especially on door knocking pre-foreclosures and give you ABC type of information. All right, guys. So Andrew, introduce yourself.
Andrew, as I know, Andrew Powell Investor _. That on my Instagram. That is Andrew Powell _investor. Actually, I would just try to make it a little bit more easier for people who are trying to get themselves started in pre-foreclosure.
Right. Last week we made a video for you guys going over where exactly you can find all the data, the different free sites and all that. Make sure you guys check that out. But today we're going to focus on specifically door knocking. But the first thing we're going to do is even why. Why should a newbie, Andrew, go after pre-foreclosure? I'm talking about a newbie that haven't done a deal yet, never door knock a seller, never called the seller. We're not even going to talk about what we do because most of our deals comes from door knocking and then we have the texting, right? Absolutely. But we're not going to focus on what we're doing, but we're going to talk to that person that haven't even done a deal yet. Okay. What are the steps we see till they get into the action? All right, that's where we're gonna start. But the first thing is, why should they even go after pre-foreclosures instead of, like, let's say vacants or high equity? Like, why should a newbie even?
Pre-foreclosure, as I know, guys, is the highest motivation, I say, because there's a time limit as to when these people need to act. Right. So it's a beautiful place to get your deal in the first 30 days, only because there's a time limit there, and there's also PIN. Because it's pre-foreclosure, it's people who's behind on them payments, and also you might find other pains that's associated with the pre-foreclosure, because there's a reason why pre-foreclosure is in that situation. It's either debt, it's either lost a job or something, but there's underlying pain right there, and that's the best place to start to get your first deal.
Boom, guys, it's sellers that already, they already have a pain before you even call them.
Yep.
The data is very public. Again, we made a whole video on that. And they have a timestamp on it. That means the lender, whoever they owe money to, is giving them a specific timeline for them to either take care of the situation or to lose the home. And that's where we investors, we kick in and we help these homeowners avoid foreclosure, to wreck their credit, help them go to the next chapter of their life, whether to relocate them in a rental, maybe help them buy a new home, or some of them is just like, hey, they want to stay, and we guide them to the right direction, right?
Yes.
So that's the first thing. Is basically pre-foreclosure is like a time ticking bomb. All right, like literally a time ticking bomb. So instead of doing all the high equities where you're calling random homeowners with, a property that is worth $300,000, they want to sell it for $400,000, and you're working hard to negotiate them down and all that fun stuff, right? Yeah. So that's the first thing. Now, here we're gonna start with, obviously, the first thing is you need to get the data. Yeah. Right? Now, even though these sellers, guys, they have time stamp on it, and then they have already paid before you even call them. Yeah. Andrew, is this going to be easy? If somebody's sitting there, they go, you know what? I only have maybe $200 to my name. I maybe have a car, maybe I have a bike. Okay? I don't have anything else. Yeah. All right? Like, is this going to be easy to do, even though these sellers have a timestamp, they're behind on their bills, and they have already paid?
No, absolutely not. It's not going to be easy, because it's not going to be as easy. Number one, these people who are going through pre-foreclosure, Mamadou, based on my experience, what I've known, these people will live up until the last 5 days. Yes. They might exhaust all of the time they need inside of the property before them ask for some assistance.
Natural procrastinators.
Of course. And that with timing, you just have to have the conversation with them, the uncomfortable conversation. It's in the follow-up, as you know, just to see what is it that they have done so far, to try to see if they can navigate them to the right place. Now, in regards to pain, even when time there's lost a job, even when there's debt, them still just want to hold on to the horse because of the emotional attachment.
Yeah. So, guys, basically, in a nutshell, it's absolutely not going to be easy. We had a whole workshop here in Georgia, which this is where we're local to, teaching newbies, and we've noticed that most of them start, and then after a week, they absolutely give up. Yeah. Maybe after door knocking 3 doors or cold calling 3 sellers, and then they get hung up on and get cussed out, because they're expecting that these people will just hand them over the keys to their property just because they're behind on their mortgage. But the reality is, none of the strategy, I don't care if you do pre-foreclosures, I don't care if you do high equity, I don't care if you do vacants, it doesn't matter. They're all not easy. They're simple, but not easy. So unless you have the resilience, persistence, because you're going to have to do a lot of follow-ups.
Consistency.
Right? You're going to have to be okay with the no's, the FUs.
Of course.
And you truly have to care enough to follow up with the sellers, even though they slam the door on you 100 and trillion times. 100%. So you kind of have to take it like a responsibility of yours to go ahead and help them. Yeah. So what is the first step, Andrew, here, as we wrote here, data preparation, right? Let's walk them through. So this is number 1, right? We can literally put number 1 here. is obviously get the data first, right?
Yeah.
Data preparation, where can they find the data?
For me, I'm going to walk you through my entire day. My data come from preforeclosure.com. It's a paid website that I would for me and Mama do pull all of the data from. And also we have even VA from overseas who pull data from other sources and also furnish us with the data. Those with text blasts. But the ones that we door knock, it's preforeclosure.com.
Preforeclosure.com, that's the one we use. Now there is a free one they can use if the person don't have the money. Which one should they use as free?
Them can use Zillow and them can also use auction.com, and those are free websites.
Yeah, USALegalNotice.com also is a great one. By the way, guys, that's the whole video we made last week for you guys. We gave over, I think, 7 or 8 different websites you can go on. Most of them are free, some of them you have to pay. But make sure you go check that out. We'll actually link that in the comments, all right?
Yes, sir.
So the first thing is data preparation. Now, what does that look like? Let's say I go on preforeclosure.com, then I pull the data like here in Georgia, maybe you're in Texas, you pull all the data in San Antonio, right? Okay, so after that, obviously, is you have to organize the data.
Yeah,
right?
So we'll pull the data from the night before. So your day inside the real estate, Mamadou, as I know, start from the night before. So the night before, we go ahead, we pull the data, I will stay typically within 1 city or 2 city or within 2 zip code to not be all over the place. So you prepare it, the preparation comes with just the address, or you map your address out, so you move from one property to the next, the closest property, until you complete the entire 20 property that you're doing now.
Okay, so 1 or 2 zip codes.
1 or 2 zip code, yeah.
Okay, 1 or 2 zips. And then on average, how much kind of data you pull?
At 20. It has to be at least 20 per day.
Okay, 20 per day, that's 20 addresses per day.
20 addresses per day.
Got it, okay. So at least 20 addresses per day, get that. And then once you have all of that, then obviously you're looking to target those that have an auction coming up within the
closer time,
closer time, right? 3 to 4 weeks on average?
Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks on average. Those are the people who you mainly target. Now, Mamadou, to be honest with you, I have a strategy that I use. Whenever I go out and I knock these 20 doors, there's 5 doors. There's 5 doors where I gotta pay close attention to. Now, you got 15 other doors.
We're gonna get to that one here. So guys, we're gonna keep this one for the action. Because remember, right now, this is preparation. This is not the work.
Got it.
You're just sitting down here, it doesn't cost you anything. You're going on the computer and pulling the data from a website.
Yep.
Okay? Now you pull the data, let's say you have the 20 addresses.
Okay.
Okay? Now you organize the data. How do you organize the data for the day after?
Okay, so the organization and the data, guys, come with how you're putting the data together, or the strategy that you're gonna use to do now. So you wanna start at A, B. You don't want to be all over the zip code just moving around. You want it to be short and effective. So it is from A, and the next address that's closest to A is how you put the data within your map. We use Google Maps. Some people use Road Warriors for maps, for just make sure you map it out and everything work in order.
Right. So you have to literally map out your road, right? See kind of like the distance between all the properties you're gonna go. Start with the ones that are closest within each other, right? So this is all, guys, this is all like, he just said something key earlier. Your day start the day before. So if you're gonna door knock on Tuesday, your day on Tuesday starts Monday night.
Yes,
so by the morning, Tuesday, your data should be completely
One more thing with the
organized.
organization and the data to Mamadou. You want to have your letters. Remember your letters.
Right.
So if you have 20 door that you door knocking, make sure you have at least 20 letters, and make sure you pay attention to the foreclosure date that has been put on the letter. Don't misinform people as when the foreclosure will operate. So sometimes you will have some for 1 month, and then the next month, make sure your letters have all the months corrected with the information in it.
Got it. So the letter, explain to me, what does that mean? Where do they get the letter? Is it something that they pull? Is it what is that exactly?
Well, the letter for us is just a basic letter that we're just introducing ourselves to the homeowner as we're there to assist.
Got it. So this is like, for example, if the homeowner is not there, this is the letter that you leave behind, telling the homeowner you've stopped by, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go deeper into that here. All right, guys, so now after that, we come to where, obviously, guys, you still need to find the numbers.
Yep.
Even though you're gonna go on the field and door knock them. By the way, it doesn't mean that, you know, our team does like 20 per day in terms of knocking on doors. We don't just door knock, but 20 per day. It doesn't mean you have to do 20 per day. You can do 30, you can do 40, whatever.
Yep.
It's whatever works for you, right? But 20, and then we'll explain to you what we do afterwards, because it doesn't stop there. But in our local market, we found that on average that works is maybe like 1 or 2 hot leads per week. So that works for us. So if you want to do more, then you can do more, right?
Yep.
So now we get into the skip tracing part. This is where you still have to get the numbers, even though you're going in person and knocking on these doors. Your job is not finished. It doesn't stop at the door.
Of course.
So that's the why. So we use kind skip tracing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, kind skip tracing.
Let me write it down here, guys. They have a super accurate data. Honestly, we love using them. Kind skip tracing. Excuse my writing. Okay. You can explain to them, Andrew, what's in terms of accuracy. What do you think about, you know, kind skip tracing? All right, we're gonna have to. So we get to the skip tracing, and we use kind skip tracing. They have super accurate data, right? That's what we use.
Kind skip tracing and what we use typically, because sometimes we'll make the phone call from the car. Whenever we're door knocking, sometime, and if the property, the homeowner is not home, sometimes we'll make the call from the car. So we'll always go out with the intention of having a number to make a phone call.
Guys, this is huge because there's a lot of people. So for example, he said they make the calls from the car. There's a lot of people that's gonna go on the field, maybe door knock 10 doors if they can, and then go back home and start calling.
Yeah.
They're already taking action in the car, right? And there's another thing that Andrew does, which is when they're driving, he's not just going and just knocking on doors. What else do you do to be way more productive?
Driving for dollar leads.
Driving for dollar leads, right? So he's looking out for ugly houses as well that look beat up, tall grass, all that fun stuff, taking down the addresses, and then going on kind skip tracing, getting the numbers, and calling these sellers, right? And then trying to see if they're open to a cash offer. So while they're door knocking pre-foreclosure, they're also doing that. By the way, guys, you can also use if you want something for absolutely free. This is kind skip tracing is very cheap and they're super accurate. But if you want something free, you can go on truepeoplesearch.com, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, truepeoplesearch.com give you more information.
Yes.
Sometimes we even reach out to homeowners and email them, because you get an email from them, you get family members also, you get previous addresses. Sometimes we even go as far as door knocking family members. It just depends on what needs to be done.
Right. So guys, truepeoplesearch.com for free. You can find the family members. And that's key because most of your deals with pre-foreclosures is gonna come from the family members.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of death, there's a lot of divorce, there's a lot of people that cannot afford their phone bill.
Yep.
So you cannot get hold of them directly. You have to call the family members, all right? Most deals we actually close, we're always talking to the sister, the cousin, the auntie, the niece, whatever, right? So truepeoplesearch.com, guys. This is all number 2. Number 3, so 1, data preparation. 2, organizing the data. Number 3, skip tracing. In the beginning, if you're a solopreneur, you have to do this all yourself. Guys, this is not the action right here, okay? This is just preparation. Now we come into the action. That's why I wrote action here. This is where the action happens, is when you get up on the Tuesday morning,
yes, sir,
and you actually go in front of the door, which I don't know how to draw a freaking door, but you know, this is a door, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
So you go in front of the door and you knock on these doors and now start talking about talking with the sellers. Guys, this is Andrew. This is where people are super fearful. Is right here. But this is what I call the action, because to me, until you start talking to the homeowners, you haven't taken any action yet.
Absolutely.
Have you ever gotten a wholesaler that DM you on Instagram or Facebook and say, hey, I have a lead, and then they say, oh, he's in pre-foreclosure, I think we can do something. Then you ask them, okay, what's the seller's motivation? And they're like, no, I haven't talked to them yet. I just saw it on Zillow. Right? Guys, that's not action. That until you call the homeowner, have a conversation, or go at the door and knock on them, that's where the action starts. So why do you think people are so fearful of?
I think of the fear of rejection. Guys, there's no need to be rejected. Now remember, these people do not know you. So whatever these people tell you, you cannot take it personal. It's just you going up with the intention to assist them going through a tough time. And that is the main objective of us door knocking, to see what can be done. Real estate is just the benefit at the end. But it's you finding a problem that they're going through that causes the pre-foreclosure process and trying to render some assistance.
That 100%, you are a problem solver. So once you go in front of the door and you start talking to these homeowners, you cannot take anything personal. What is the worst thing that ever happened at the door? Gun poles, dogs.
Shut door inside of your face. explicit, all type of different stuff. And me personally still call those people even after all of those exchange.
Right, because guys, remember, it's not about the property.
Yeah.
Plus, these people are not cussing you or closing the door because they hate you personally.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just everything they're going through. So you're gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have to persist. You're gonna have to come back at that door if you cannot get hold of them on the phone afterwards.
Yep.
And we're gonna break down for you after the door knocking what happens afterwards, and you're gonna see. But you have to persist. That's where the follow-up comes into play. You have to follow up at the door and on the phone and through texting these people as well, right? So don't be afraid of the rejections, and definitely never take it personal. Because remember, every issue they're going through it has nothing to do with the home. Oftentimes, it's always like the divorce. Somebody passed away.
Sickness.
There is what is that file we were dealing with? They had like 12 different siblings you gotta talk to. There was one we were talking to with the brother in jail.
Yeah.
We had to talk to somebody from jail. I wish we recorded that freaking.
Always some underlying.
He called from jail. I wish we would have recorded that call, which we're still dealing with, right? California is going through a probate. Guys, California probate process is a year. Is it a year? They said.
Yep.
9 months to a year. Oh my gosh. This is why we love the Georgia market. All right, guys. So when you go in here, door knocking these people, few things gonna happen. One, and I'm gonna let Andrew break this down, right? So Andrew is to find the seller, right?
Yeah.
Okay, find the seller. What does that look like? How do they approach the door? What does the conversation look like?
Well, the conversation, whenever you're speaking with the homeowner first, we always want to address the person who answered the door and just establish the contact between us as him being the homeowner. And then from there, we'll just kind of bring it to his attention like, hey, there's a foreclosure date on the property. I'm just wondering if you're aware of what's going on. And from there, we can take the conversation. Whether he's aware or not, we'll just try to bring it to him attention and try to find out what is it that he has done so far to kind of rectify the issue with the lender. And then from there, that's when we take the conversation.
Right. So once they give you everything they've done, then you walk them through what is left. One mistake, guys, never do. If you find young kids, right, that looks like this is the children, do not bring up the foreclosure. Oftentimes, even if the person that opens the door, you want to confirm first if it's the homeowner.
Exactly.
Number two, you want to confirm if they have a partner. Because some of them we found, even their partner is not aware that there is a foreclosure. So they will whisper at you at the door. So when they're talking low because they've been, I've talked to pre-foreclosure sellers that were taking the letters from the lender and hiding it from their wives, right? So you don't want to just go in and start screaming, oh, your house is... guys, don't do that, right? But especially the kids, because I remember the last deal we've done in Canyers. That's what happened with all the other investors, and we ended up getting the deal because we didn't make that mistake.
Of course.
They all came. They found who the kid, I think.
The kid was there, and they all presented the kid with the letter of what's going on. Cannot do that.
And the seller was like, how the hell? You come in here and you give my son a paper that says my property is in foreclosure. That was just insane. So typically for us, if he's a kid, we just tell them, hey, when the parents is at home, tell them to call us, and that's about it. Even on the phone, if the kid pick up, we don't bring up none of that stuff. So don't make that mistake. So that's number one. If you find the seller, boom, typically the conversation, 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Yeah, we'll try to minimize it to 15 minutes at the door, and if anything need to be elaborated, then we'll try to take it in at the second conversation. Yeah,
and guys, we did a whole video on the field, actually, door knocking the doors, and one of the conversations you're gonna see Shikal from our team having a conversation with the seller at the door. Now, on our team, we found the response rates work better when we send I would say a woman at the door. He's from Jamaica. They say female, that doesn't mean, okay? But yeah, you send a woman at the door. People just respond. Guys, if you say him, I don't know, 6 foot, whatever, and you're gonna open the door, you're not opening that door, right? So typically, we found out there is a way better response rate. So boom, we passed that, and then B is the sellers. The properties that the seller is not there, seller not present. What does that look like, Andrew?
No, whenever we encounter a property where it seems vacant, these are the property for me, Mamadou. I take very keen notation too. So these are the people who first me gonna contact as soon as me get home for find out, because guys, if the property is vacant, that means them already leave Mamadou.
Right.
And these are the sellers who me personally try to target just to see what's going on, why them left, what is been done, because a lot of these people who even leave haven't even done anything. They just wash their hands off the property and leave.
Right.
So for me personally, we'll go after these sellers now. Make a notation, come inside, and then we'll try to hunt the seller through the family member or whatever means necessary to get to a seller with a vacant home.
This is where TruePeopleSearch.com kick in.
100%.
This is where TruePeopleSearch.com is going to be hella key to find the family members, right? But I think you guys first leave a note, right, at the door.
Yep.
Okay, so you leave a note because just in case it might be also a seller that is out for work or groceries or whatever.
Yeah.
So you do want to leave a note. What do you typically write on that note?
On the note, it's just us introducing ourselves. We looking to assist you. Of course, it's never to purchase the property. It's always to assist the homeowner in getting out of this horrible situation. So that is typically the body of the note. Boom.
And then, guys, once the 20 doors is complete, now the real work starts.
Yep.
So coming back to the house, okay, coming back to the house. This is not nap time, it's not Netflix time, it's not watching soccer time, none of that shit. Okay, so they get into now the cold calling part, right? It's calling now the sellers and trying to get hold of the family members. So they go on TruePeopleSearch.com, and this is where you become an FBI at this point, right?
Yep.
So this is where you go on TruePeopleSearch.com, you start finding the family members. So typically, like, how many family members on average do you call from one address?
For me personally, whenever me I go offer a lead Mamadou, I'm not stopping. If it take me at least 7 to 8 family members, I won't stop. If I can't get through to a family member, I will actually look them up on Facebook, Instagram, whatever means necessary for contact a family member before I can feel comfortable letting that lead go. So for me, I would door knock a family member. If it take me for mail a family member a piece of mail, just for bring them attention to what's going on and let them know that I'm interested in assisting them. So that is it for me personally.
So whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Guys, I've done the exercise on this with a newbie. So he was struggling getting leads, and I asked him, when you go on TruePeopleSearch.com, guys, so let's take 123 Main Street and the seller's name is Jack.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay? You go to TruePeopleSearch.com, you type 123 Main Street, the address. It's going to give you not only Jack, but it's going to give you maybe like 12 different family members.
Of course.
And it even gives you the ages. If you go on TruePeopleSearch.com, it gives you the ages of the people. For me personally, I will start logically with the younger people, not the older people. So if he says like 89 years old, 80 years old, I'm probably calling those last.
Yeah.
I'm starting with the younger ones, the 50s, the 60s, right? 40s, whatever. But what he was doing is, he's picking, which is the lazy route, obviously. He's picking maybe 3, 4 family members, calling them and go, oh, I've called 4 people, nobody picked up, it must be a dead lead.
Yep.
I said, bro, you have 12 different people. Why not call the whole 12? Right? Because the 7th might be the lucky number, the 8th might be the lucky number. Why not call the whole thing? I can go at night and sleep and go, you know what? I've called every single family member, I've door knocked the door, nobody's there, then I can sleep peacefully. Guess what? He made the 7th dial, and he got hold of somebody. That was the issue he was dealing with. Is he's not making enough calls and he's not calling the whole family members list. Guys, if you really want to track them down, remember, if the FBI have a bounty hunter after you, do they give up?
No. Never.
Okay, exactly. That's how you have to be. So call every single one of the family members until you get hold of somebody that says, yes, I know Jack from 123 Main Street. I am the family member. Even if they say I don't want to sell it, that really doesn't matter, because at that point you have a point of contact. And now you can just keep following up until they're ready to make a decision.
Absolutely.
I cannot tell you how many deals we've gotten that way, right? So that's for the seller. So that's where, guys, when they come back, it doesn't stop. Probably up to like 8, 9 p.m. This is just calls, follow-ups, finding the family members, and then maybe calling leads that was door knocked the week before, and then getting the next day ready, which is obviously you repeat, right? This 100%. Is just you building your habits, and then what do you call it? When you're done at 8 p.m., the calls and all that fun stuff, do you just go to sleep, or what does that look like?
We have to expound. For me personally, I have to expound and the information and the knowledge. That is when we get a chance now for kind of wrap my mind around what the knowledge is, see if we can extend the knowledge a little bit. So we will do at least the next hour worth of YouTube. If we have a role play with Steve over that side, if we have a role play with him, just for kind of get everything sharpened up and stuff like that. So for me, real estate, even after real estate finish, it's a continuous process.
You constantly have to learn, and this is even the door knocking part, guys. This is something you role play and practice. Yeah. When I go in front of the door, how do I stand? After I knock it, get back. How do I approach them? How do I talk to them? How do I overcome the objections when they say I've got it handled, even though their voice is shaking, right? This is things we role play every single day. So in the morning, you have to role play the phone calls. And even the door knocking, people don't know this, but big time door knockers, I'm not talking about real estate specifically, any other kind of sales job, like for example, solar panel salespeople. Yeah. Right, insurance salespeople, they practice this stuff. If you wanted to play soccer or basketball today, and you just want to show up at at the championship and just play a game, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to show up at the gym and practice and practice and practice and practice. Then you can perform when it's time to perform.
I mean, even after the day finish, you have Facebook for go in and just to see if anybody might post a lead. Like you have so many activities even after the day finish where you're supposed to consume your day with up until bedtime. So for me, going on Facebook, Instagram, see what those messages look like, see who have deals with them and try and move, whatever might be the case. But after 8, work still continues.
Guys, there you have it. ABC stuff. 1, data preparation. 2, organize the data. 3, skip tracing. But the real action is right here. When you door knock these sellers, when you call them, when you text them, we use what? ARIA reply for the moment.
Yep.
Right? We're using ARIA reply for the texting. You can automate the texting. So even while you're door knocking, if you want, guess what? Your system is texting by itself because you can automate it and set what they call drip campaigns. All right, guys? I promise you guys, you have to be not only bold about this, you have to be obsessed about this.
Yep.
You have to be optimistic, knowing full well that this thing is going to work. You can get a deal if you truly care about helping people. And another thing is you got to have that abundance mindset. That means when you're driving around and you see houses, you're not looking at houses that are distressed. You're looking at opportunities that you can come in and do something about it. Not only make money, beautify a neighborhood, provide jobs, all this fun stuff. That's exactly the way you got to think about it. That's how our motto is, boom.
Boom.